I'd like to do today is get your version of what happened.
Oh, you mean the truth?
Perhaps best described as a film decades ahead of its time, Big Trouble in Little China didn't quite fit the mould when it debuted in 1986, but blew up on home video and cable TV, where it found its true audience, folks like us. But as old Jack Burton would say, what the hell? John Carpenter's genre-defining adventure blends a wild mix of themes with irresistible charm. Whether it's the playful mocking of Western Hollywood action cliches, the exhilarating dive into wuxia martial arts mythology, or the fascinating integration of Chinese folklore and Taoist mysticism. In a pre-multiverse, pre-genre fusion cinematic world, this enchanting oddball of a movie was nothing short of prophetic. Genre fusion on steroids long before audiences were ready for it, but hey, that was the 80s. A big part of the film's charm lies in its cultural subversion. The familiar trope of Asian characters being reduced to sidekicks or stereotypes is completely upended when our rugged Western hero is consistently outshone and outpaced.
Follow the leader. 1, 2, 3. We may be trapped.
By the real protagonist, Wang Chi. Just don't tell Jack that.
It's all in the reflexes.
Another of the film's great appeals is its setting. Deep beneath San Francisco's Chinatown, a hidden underworld of magic, demons, and monsters. Pulses alongside gang rivalries and the grim reality of human trafficking. The supernatural chaos is never explained, it simply is, woven into the fabric of the place like an open secret. Unlike many modern films, it doesn't drown us in lore or rigid rule systems, instead evoking a dreamlike mythological tone, leaving plenty of room for mystery. And that's why this one belongs in my all-time top 10 childhood action-adventure movies. The final showdown inside the evil sorceress' inner sanctum marks the film's climax. Following a series of intense brawls with both mortal foes and supernatural beings. It all builds to a pivotal moment over 2 millennia in the making for the charismatic, sarcastic, and megalomaniacal villain himself, Lo Pan. An ancient Chinese sorcerer and warrior, Lo Pan was cursed over 2,000 years ago by the first sovereign emperor of China. Stripped of his flesh, he became a ghost-like spirit, condemned to exist in the form of both a withered old man in a wheelchair and a towering spectral sorcerer. The only means of regaining his mortal form is through a dark ritual. Marry and then sacrifice a woman with green eyes, a rare trait even among Chinese women. In doing so, he can merge the spirit world with the physical realm, reclaiming his power and returning to rule once more. Something he clearly craves, as evidenced by his sardonic wit.
And all I need is a woman, Mr. Burton.
Centuries of boredom spent under the businessman alias David Lo Pan have turned him into a campy menace. Every sardonic quip masks millennia of frustration, longing, and entitlement. He delights in verbally antagonizing anyone who doesn't operate on his level.
You seem to be one who knows the difficulties between men and women.
Using sarcasm as both a weapon and a way to maintain his dignity, while waiting for this insufferable curse to lift. His dialogue throughout the picture adds a layer of self-aware wit that undercuts the absurdity of his situation. A once mighty warlord now navigating bureaucracy, gang politics, and elevator buttons. In a world that has long moved on. With not one but 2 dazzling green-eyed brides now in his possession. Lo Pan is consumed by childish greed and a visceral yearning to be flesh again. Oh, and let's just take 5 seconds here to honour the beauty that is Kim Cattrall, shall we? But time is of the essence, and his guard is down. Though his teleportation powers, energy blasts, and psychic manipulation abilities are formidable enough, Lo Pan does not stand alone. His small army of loyalists, the Kwong Syndicate, serves as his core fighting force. Highly organised, well-trained, and fiercely devoted. They form the backbone of his enforcers, not to be confused with the Lords of Death, a low-level Ponzi street gang operating under Kwong orders. It was the Lords of Death, instructed by Kwong, who abducted Miao Yin at the airport, but with more style than substance, they ultimately proved inconsequential in the larger battle to come.
Where'd you get that?
However, it's Lo Pan's elite guards, the Free Storms, who embody his true power and unearthly influence, wielding wind, lightning, and thunder as both weapons and symbols of his godlike ambitions. It is they who pose the most immediate threat to the otherwise well-organized rescue mission.
Feel pretty good. And I'm not scared at all. I just feel kind of...
With their fusion of ancient mysticism, over-the-top martial arts prowess, and unforgettable fashion sense, they've become an iconic part of the film's cult legacy, and a vivid spark for my imagination growing up with this masterpiece. Thunder, the first of the elemental demigods, each of whom channels a specific elemental force, is the largest and most physically imposing, gifted with superhuman strength and an affinity for sound and force. Thunder is a master of handblades and capable of withstanding immense damage. His most bizarre and awkwardly memorable ability, however, is his capacity to inflate his body like a balloon during emotional outbursts. Perhaps a manifestation of chi overload or sheer mystical rage, one that would be his undoing. Rain is the most agile and martial arts orientated of the Free Storms, with a connection to water that seems more symbolic than literal, as his repeated demonstrations of wind manipulation are far more consistent and visually prominent throughout the film. Despite his calm demeanour, his unmatched speed, agility and precision, combined with his mastery of twin-hook swords and his ability to leap great distances, make him arguably the deadliest of the trio. Lightning is undoubtedly the most iconic and memorable of the Storms, having directly inspired the character Raiden from the Mortal Kombat games. With powers like these and a hat design that could shade a 1000-watt lamp, showing off certainly puts efficiency in the rear view, but who can blame him for being the flashiest of the trio? His powers include hurling lightning bolts, riding electrical currents, and levitating with ease, making distance irrelevant and speed almost unnecessary. That said, none of these mystic powers or the prospect of human sacrifice to appease ancient Chinese gods would ever be a match for Jack Burton's leadership,
Everybody relax, I'm here.
loyalty,
My mind and my spirits are as one.
As two, I said I was coming.
I go with you, but...
I know, there's a problem with your face.
and sheer courage in the face of overwhelming odds. At least that's how he sees it. The endearingly clueless Pork Chop Express trucker's greatest superpower was his unwavering belief that he was always in control, even when he was clearly out of his depth and stumbling through every encounter.
Great work, Jack. Yeah, we're all inside.
His blind but unshakable confidence somehow worked in his favour more often than not. Despite his incompetence, Jack had a knack for getting lucky or inadvertently helping out simply by never giving in to fear or panic. Whether it's luck and intuition or just dumb resilience versus training and discipline, who knows? But with a classic one-liner like,
It's all in the reflexes.
Jack and Wang make the perfect yin-yang duo, two polar opposites yet two sides of the same rare coin. Just before the group descends into Lo Pan's hidden lair, Egg Shen, who poses as a mere Chinatown tour bus driver but is, in truth, a formidable sorcerer and the city's unseen spiritual guardian, gathers the warriors in the bar to drink his mysterious brew.
Time for the medicine!
Egg Shen is essentially the film's Gandalf of Taoism, the ancient Chinese philosophy centered on living in harmony with the Tao, or the Way, the force that unites all living things in the universe.
This does what again, exactly?
Wise and dry-witted, Egg doesn't bother explaining what's in the potion he pours from his gourd-like container.
Oh, good!
He simply says,
You can see things no one else can see, do things no one else can do.
Real things?
that's good enough for the group and it'll do just fine for Jack.
What's in the flask, Egg? Magic potion?
Yeah,
Thought so. Good. What do we do? Drink it?
yeah.
Good. I thought so.
It remains unclear what effect the medicine has on the rescuers. The men believe it will enhance their physical and mental abilities, and in the elevator they start to feel more confident and energized, communicating their expression of synergy with hand symbols. A mystical gesture to channel energy or intention? Or maybe just some Carpenter-style flourish, synonymous with his filmography overall? Whether the potion's impact is real, a placebo, or purely psychosomatic is hard to say, as the soldiers continue to fight with the same trained precision, and Jack, as always, fumbles his way through with the same blissful unawareness of supernatural chaos around him. One thing is certain though, as the group starts to feel invincible and the vibe turns a little surreal, just shy of homoerotic, Jack, the leader he is, drops another perfectly timed one-liner to bring everybody back to Earth.
Is it getting hot in here, or is it just me?
As Lo Pan prepares to pierce Miao Yin with his needle of love, the final step in a ritual that will restore his mortal form, the outnumbered but confident crew stands ready, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Albeit slightly buzzing from a concoction half enchanted and potentially half expired, but what the hell. Egg Shen holds them back. Lo Pan must become flesh before he can be defeated. Jack, still convinced that everybody else is convinced he is the fearless leader of this well-prepared rescue squad, lets out a fearsome battle cry and wildly fires off shots from his Tech 9 semi-automatic pistol, something else highly synonymous with the 80s. More to rattle enemy nerves than with any intent to kill. Beneath all the John Wayne swagger and cocky one-liners, Jack genuinely cares. He risks everything to help Wang Chi rescue Miao Yin and Gracie Law. Even as things spiral into the supernatural, he never backs down, even when, by all accounts, he really should. As the climatic battle unfolds, we're hit with a jolt of pure 80s creative chaos. The visual flair is cranked to 11, all pre-CGI practical effects and homemade movie magic. It's a celebration of earnest weirdness, mocking action movie cliches and saviour tropes while still loving them. The film is self-aware but never slows down to explain the joke. It just barrels forward in all of its imaginative glory. There are roundhouse kicks, mid-air sword fights and gravity-defying acrobatics, all set to the synth-heavy retro-electro score composed by John Carpenter himself and his band, the Coupe de Villes. The thrills ramp up as Egg Shen puts his six-demon bag to good use.
The six-demon bag.
Terrific, a six-demon bag. Sensational. What's in it, Egg?
Wind, fire, all that kind of thing.
His answer is vague, staying true to the film's tongue-in-cheek approach to mysticism. In reality, the bag holds 6 elemental demons, representing the 5 traditional Chinese elements: wood, fire, earth, metal and water, plus the Western element wind. Egg makes no effort to hide his eagerness to use his magical toolkit. In fact, with a twinkle in his eye, his giddiness is infectious. A sack packed with explosive magic and just enough plot-saving tricks to give Jack and the heroes a fighting chance, but never so much that it tilts the scales between good versus evil. It took a while, though maybe it was just the right amount of time, but Jack finally gets his bearings and knows precisely what to do, sort of. After another brief scuffle with Thunder, who's now seething with rage at Jack's absurd luck yet again, and teetering on the brink of spontaneous combustion. The opportunity to dispense of this child who has wandered into the wrong story passes. It's Jack's moment now, an opportunity to end all of this rather preposterous business in Chinatown's underbelly, and to hit the road again as a free spirit of questionable wisdom. With his target in plain sight and his reflexes razor sharp, he reaches for his knife, only to find himself in yet another predicament as a victim of circumstance. Trapped under the weight of a fallen henchman in a scene with more slapstick than an Austin Powers blooper reel, he questions if this is how he'll spend the rest of the fight.
Ah, shit!
Meanwhile, the chamber erupts with chaos and magic. Lo Pan is mere seconds from becoming flesh. Wang Chi, the film's true hero and a remarkably skilled martial artist, must act fast to save his fiancée, but he's locked in a surprisingly balanced duel with Rain, the most lethal of Lo Pan's elemental enforcers. Wang remains one of the film's most intriguing enigmas. Brave, loyal and resourceful, sure, but all we really know about him is that he runs a restaurant and fights like a legend. Who is this guy really? In this scene, he performs gravity-defying flips, lightning-fast sword strikes, and moves with almost unnatural agility. even against a supernatural opponent. He doesn't wield magic outright, but in his airborne duel with Rain, Wang arguably outclasses him. He fits the wuxia archetype perfectly, a warrior whose abilities are so refined they flirt with the supernatural. But is there more to him than meets the eye? Did Egg Shen's potion do more than just heighten his senses? Did it awaken something deeper, something dormant? While the others fight with the same integrity, with a slight feeling of invincibility, Wang navigates the fight with alarming precision and ultimately defeats Rain far too easily for it to be just training. After Lo Pan and Egg Shen pause for a brief sorcery-fueled minigame, a duel between ethereal avatars conjured from the clash of their energy beams, the true battle begins. It's a test of inner power, not brute strength. A psychic showdown played out through mystical energy and intense focus, brought to life with those gloriously over-the-top 80s visual effects. But the game is up. The intruders prevail. Though Lo Pan has completed his ritual, he's now vulnerable. With his forces dwindling, including the fall of Rain, one of his elemental storms, he and his remaining followers retreat from the depths of the sanctum, sealing the passage behind them. In the resulting destruction, Jack manages to rescue Gracie from her fever dream and defeats the monster to escape. Well, Gracie defeats the monster, but don't tell Jack that.
It's all in the reflexes.
Jack must now confront Lo Pan with or without the help of his allies. Gracie tries to warn him of the danger, but Jack reassures her, putting all and any anxiety to bed.
Hey, don't worry, I can handle him. I took something. I can see things no one else can see.
As we segue into the finale, the duel between Jack Burton and the centuries-old sorcerer Lo Pan, the final showdown is smothered in irony. For all of Jack's big talk, swagger and overconfidence, and constant one-liners, not to mention his tendency to be clumsy or miss out on the action entirely, this egotistical truck driver is somehow the one who takes down the big villain. And he does it in the simplest, least flashy way possible. It's a sharp contrast to the rest of the film's elaborate fight scenes. Meanwhile, it's Wang Chi who's been the true protagonist all along. He has the personal stake and the skills, and leads most of the key battles and other confrontations. But then again, heroism doesn't always look like it does in the movies, right? Sometimes it's just dumb luck and decent reflexes. Of the two heroes in this story, it's Wang who leaves us with a lingering curiosity about his true potential. Could he be the one to take up the mantle of Chinatown's guardian now that Egg has stepped aside? His sorcery only just beginning to awaken. While Jack has a few flickers of self-awareness,
My God, no. Please, what is that? Don't tell me.
he largely ends the film unchanged, still running his mouth, delivering absurd radio monologues, full of nonsense advice and philosophical bravado to the prestigious CB audience of the Pork Chop Express, clinging to his me against the world philosophy.
Just remember what old Jack Burton does when the earth quakes and the poison arrows fall from the sky.
Despite soaking up the spotlight with his blindingly inflated ego and trademark accidental effectiveness, Jack is a parody of the Western action hero. He didn't win any fights convincingly, didn't get the girl, and often misread the entire situation. But one thing's for damn sure, Big Trouble in Little China wouldn't have worked without him. You got that?
I don't get this at all. I thought Lo Pan...
Shut up, Mr. Burton. You are not brought upon this world to get it.